expected the boss to be currently taken by the Ducks down here, and that's why they were going bottom to try and force a fight. This is going to be a keep. This might even be game. If they win a big team fight here, this could be the end of it. Remapala, on the other hand, if he dies, that's a game changer, and that happens. But Sport Billy also eliminated, and so is Uta. Triple kill as Vala dies. And with Eternal now being locked down, it looks very much like this is going to be potentially the end. A 4 versus 1 on the map. Only Tassadar is still alive. The keep, of course, is a goner. The question is, can they somehow hold on to the core? The death timers are low. They might be able to defend, but it's going to be...
It's going to be difficult. Nande pops the Archon to start it here.
Not likely.
10 seconds for everyone to pop up, and the Ducks, their core is already starting to get low. It drops down to 70%.
No way.
Vala's here in 4 seconds. Shield does come out. They're looking at Make. Make just shredding through this core with the boss being here. It's not going to be possible. Tricked Esport will get back in this series here with their first victory, as they are now behind the Playing Ducks 2-1, but still in it.
Tricked takes the game 2-1. And this is important, again, even if Trick doesn't win it here, as long as they take maps, that's super important. The interesting part, again, if we are talking about the two teams, just to give you a bit of perspective, is if it happens that at the end of the entire phase 2, like, if the Ducks win now, let's say Trick takes another game and the Ducks clutch out the series, the score doesn't matter, because in this case, we have the Ducks already winning in part 1 of phase 2 against Trick. If they now win again, the direct comparison, which is what we are looking for after we look at just the match score, is going to be a 2-0 in favor of the Ducks. So for Tricked, yes, it matters how much they win, but it's really more important to get the entire series under their belt, because if they don't, then they can still end up in a situation where they are tied with the Ducks, and they would be the ones to drop into the Crucible. For that to happen, the Ducks, of course, still have to win against Fnatic, and most people don't really expect that. But we also didn't expect it in part 1 of phase 2, and it happened. The Ducks actually defeated Fnatic. We have seen crazy upsets here in Europe. So the Ducks are currently doing whatever they can to keep their hopes of not being Crucible alive. But as we heard from Wolf Joe, they more or less already accept that they will most likely be in the Crucible. They use this as an opportunity to just try out Sport Billy in their tank role and to practice for the Crucible, to get experience with that new setup. But to be honest with you, they look better than ever.
Part of me kind of wonders if that might be a superpower for them. Whenever they think they're out, they suddenly get much stronger. That's what happened against Fnatic the first time. Yesterday they were talking about, oh, we're going out of the Crucible, we're just going to play whatever and just get ready for the Crucible. And they've been looking dominant for the last couple of days. So maybe they got a little bit of confidence going into game number 3, and if they feel a little bit down, they can come in and be powerful once again.
I tell you, it's, again, the Fnatic syndrome. What happened when they faced off against MVP Black. No pressure, you just play the game. You do what you know, you do what you like, you have some fun, and all of a sudden you look much better. When the Ducks won against Fnatic, they told me later that it was basically the same thing for them. They went into the series saying, we don't stand a chance. Fnatic hasn't lost anything. How on earth are we supposed to beat these guys? We haven't won a game in ages. Now we're going up against the one team that wins everything. We have no shot of taking this. So they said they didn't even specifically practice for Fnatic. They just had their usual scrims. They practiced their usual stuff, but they didn't really prepare for the team. Then in the series, they just did their thing, and all of a sudden they won. So that's exactly, if there's no pressure on you, teams tend to actually perform a lot better. It's one of the reasons why Team Liquid struggles. They themselves saying it over and over again. More and more pressure on us, we are starting to doubt every decision that we make, and then we make mistakes.
It's amazing how mentality can really affect a team. How you approach the game, how you think you're doing in the game, things like that really do stack up. So try to keep those in check if you can. And of course, talk about it with your team members if you are building a team. Now, let's go ahead and look at the HGC Finals. Remember, in a couple of months, we will be getting set up for it. It's going to be great at BlizzCon. We already have some qualified teams going to the tournament. So let's go ahead and take a look at who has qualified so far. The Deadly Kittens from SEA has qualified once again for an international tournament. Always good to see those guys.
They also won the award for Best Logo.
Yes, I agree. I would wear a t-shirt with that logo. Soul Torturers here will be also getting in from the TW region, Taiwan, qualifying for the region. And then also, Fnatic has qualified here in Europe.
Soul Torturers is still a team that highly disappoints me. MVP Black also qualified, by the way. Fantastic record so far this season. They have dropped, I think, one single map. They are just stomping everyone with 3-0, but they have not played against L5 yet. But the thing is about the Soul Torturers, I think it's a huge opportunity, that, like, a missed opportunity for sure. Their old name was Please Buff Arthurs, and they were running with that for a long time. What happened?
Arthurs got buffed.
Yeah, Arthurs got buffed. That is such a huge chance. I mean, you can go in there, please buff Nova, please buff Gazlo. It doesn't matter what you go for. There is a chance that Blizzard is going to hear your cries. And what do? They rename themselves into Soul Torturers.
They ruin the moment.
I'm sad. That could have been a meme for years. It could have been like, yep.
They're the team that Blizzard favors. Let's go ahead and go into game number 4. Get this Battleground movement in, as Strict Esports are hoping to tie up the series and go to a game 5. We'll be going to Infernal Shrines, and this is the Tricked Esports map. This is one they've been coming to more often as of late, and they love controlling it.
Tricked again with the map choice here, yes. So an opportunity for them to tie this series and force a 5th game. And yeah, let's see what the Ducks are going to do right now. This is also again a Leoric map. This is again a map where you have a single objective where team fights in the mid game, in the late game, are extremely common in 5 versus 5 scenarios, and this is where Leoric with the new build with his ghost form usually excels. So while we didn't see him on Cursed, I would still expect him to be drafted during this game.
We'll see if he does get drafted. The Sonya continues to be more and more impactful between both these teams. Could see that as well. And then Arthas, who's gotten a little bit of play today. Great on this Battleground too. Clearing out the shrines, setting stuff up, and Tricked Esport will probably be that team that does work on clearing out the shrines, whereas the playing Ducks on their left side, they'll probably doing a little bit more macro play. They'll look to take down turrets early and work towards that level 10.
Yeah, Leoric is currently sitting at the sidelines and is just like raising his arm. Put me in, coach. Put me in. I also think that Leoric is a hero where Blizzard has so far missed huge opportunities when it comes to their skin game. First of all, Janitor Leoric, fantastic, just cleaning the lanes.
Not till I get my Deathwing Brightwing.
I have another one. Baseball Eric, just knocking it out of the park all game long.
Why does Leoric get skins? Why can't Brightwing have more skins? Why can't Li Ming have more skins? She has no skins.
Okay, so first of all, Li Ming, stop trolling me. Second of all, nobody likes Brightwing. That's number 1. And everybody likes Leoric. Your friendly ghost, I mean, how can you not like the guy? Think about the baseball skin. It doesn't get any better than that.
I have a feeling that as the weeks continue with this new Leoric build, if we don't see some adjustments soon, I don't think people will like Leoric anymore.
Oh, I'm pretty sure that people after this weekend are going to hate Leoric, and I'm pretty sure that there is a change in his near future if he turns out to be as dominant as we expect him. Right now, we're still in an experimental phase where a lot of teams do play him, but everybody is still looking, okay, where do we prioritize him? Which map is he the best on? And how do you deal with it? But if Expert has talked about how strong he is in their opinion. Liquid has talked about it as well. We have experienced ourselves in these games, and if that trend continues, people are going to hate the Ghost on the other side. We're going to see him banned out, but we're not there yet. For now, we have a start with ETC and Greymane as Rhaegar was first picked. Infernal Shrines caters to Rhaegar play, of course, and the extra wave play is fantastic. Then you have ETC with the flexibility as a first pick, as we said before, and now we're having Greymane. And oh my god, look, they didn't, I mean, I didn't, like, what? Leoric?
Who is this hero? Oh wow, look at him getting pulled in.
Haven't seen him in a while.
You know what's actually very interesting? With Leoric coming in, we just see Dehaka just falling more and more and more. We have seen him in less matches now. Granted, it's only been a total of 6 teams that we've watched so far this weekend, but definitely, you can feel the impact that Dehaka hasn't been pulled up that often.
I feel at this point, again, if the dominance of Leoric continues, I'm pretty sure that we're going to see slight adjustments on the balance side for his level 13 and 16 talents. Slight ones. I don't think you have to completely cripple those talents, but I really think that if you adjust them slightly, the build is going to fall off a little bit, and then Leoric is still going to be very useful, but he's not going to be omnipotent in these fights. And once that happens, I'm actually really curious how that battle between who is our offlaner, Leoric or Dehaka, how that turns out. Because then you have a big argument for playing with Leoric since he provides more teamfight value. But at the same time, you have the global macro aspect of Dehaka, which just caters to a different playstyle. And that dynamic, I would love that. Because that is absolutely fantastic. With the current trend of having 2 frontliners, a main tank and an off tank, that would be pretty cool. Then you have from the start to think, okay, do we play the global game? Do we try to play macro games against our opponent to an extent where we need a global? Or do we instead try to have a good solo laner in Leoric that later on provides more value in the teamfight itself?
My hope is that the Leoric build that is now showing up doesn't get nerfed too much, simply because the playstyle is new and different for heroes. Granted, the only hero that I can think of that actually kind of plays like that is the D.Va, but D.Va got nerfed pretty heavily. We don't see her as much. The idea of sitting on top of a hyper carry and taking away their damage as much as possible and trying to nullify them. It's actually really cool to see that coming in.
One of the things that I find actually a bit sad is that we don't really have an indicator of who has been hit by Leoric. Like there's no proper indication, even if you have been hit or if you're clicking on anyone. I think there's like a dark shimmer But even on that, I'm not 100% sure if it's actually there, if I'm imagining it. But there's no real proper visual indication right now that the damage reduction has kicked in. And I think if that style or if that mechanic is going to stay in the game, eventually it will be added.
Yeah, I hope they add something like a Leoric build or a beard goes in that person or something. Like, this person has a beard, that means their damage has been reduced. It soaks away the damage, you know? That's what the beard does.
Do you know that that would be looking extremely ridiculous because most of the damage dealers that we have right now are female? So you have Vala with a beard, Li Ming with a beard.
Hey man, I'm not one to hate on stylistic choices, and it's Leoric forcing his will on them. I think it looks good. It'll be great. Good animation.
Okay.
Let's get it in, Blizzard. All right, Playing Ducks have picked up a pick comp here with Stitches into Tyrande. Have not seen this in a while, but one that did pop around, gosh, 2015, 2016, with Stitches hook in, Tyrande follow up into the Hunter mark. Takes some timing, but one that you can pull off.
Starfall, please. I want Starfall with this. And also Malfurion now on the other side. So a solo heal for Trick with, again, this frightening double front line with ETC and Arthas that we've been highlighting earlier a bit. Also, great blow potential on their end with a Cursed Bullet and a combo from Li Ming. You have a lot that you can do with this as well. So both sides have really cool choices now. And it really caters to the map. But because of the map, I would love to have Starfall on Tyrande.
Can see the Starfall coming in. So we're going to be watching the Stitches into the Tyrande. The synergy between those two are going to have to be on point. You go out for a hook, and as the target is flying towards you, you drop a Lunar Flare right in front of the Stitches, making sure to hit it, stun them, and fall up in the Hunter mark, and then you blow up that target. If you miss on that small interaction, the opponent should be able to walk away, especially with Li Ming being there and Greymane. They should have disengages, and then usually the opponent is going to try and force a fight before your cooldowns come back up. But it is a very fun style to watch, and it's cool to play in Ducks if one out.
Yeah, if you if coordinated properly, you can make a lot happen. It's very similar to Malfurion and Stitches, which is more popular as of late. But the original combo, that was Tyrande together with Stitches, so we have that back.
Yep, the Tyrande, the Muradin, the Stitches, all those old combos you used to see when she was strong for that one December, that Christmas of 2016, was it?
Oh, she was long. Like, Muradin Tyrande was there for a lot longer than that.
That was a good holiday.
And then Blizzard said, we have this new thing. It's called Cleanse.
Maybe not so much. So, we're getting ready for game number 4 here. Trick Esports need to get the win to tie up the series and go to game number 5. If not, Playing Ducks will grab the win and, of course, grab the entire series. So looking good for them here as both teams today have been showed up to their matches. Playing Ducks so far have been getting the edge.
Yeah, a 2-1 lead here. Last game didn't look too good for them, but now this setup is actually pretty frightening. Chris also, again, on Gul'dan is going to be something to worry about. So, yeah, I like it. But, again, Arthas and ETC at your front line, it's not bad.
For control, Trick definitely.
Solo heal, on the other hand. Heal over time.
It is Malfurion, which doesn't really help too much with that burst that's coming out from the Playing Ducks when they get that combo they want to pull off.
Tranquility.
Do you think we're going to get Tranquility?
No.
We haven't seen it in a while.
I don't think that's actually happening. But then again, you have a solo heal Malfurion. You don't have too much heal power. I mean, don't get me wrong, I could see it. I don't expect it, but if you play Tranquility, I'm pretty sure this would be the game where you would take it. The question is, what are you going to hit actually with? Is that going to be the Leoric counter? Leoric pops out of the Wraith War, gets immediately silenced and blown away. Is that going to be the new...
For the Twilight Dream to handle the Leo?
Yeah.
Timing would be a bit rough, but doable. You can make it happen. Could work out. Arthas and ETC still go for the engage. You can still follow that up as well. I mean, you could always go into the Ice Block at 13, get hooked, and then drop down the Twilight Dream.
Keeps in mind, we also have ETC with probably Prog Rock and Arthas with his own self-sustain. So you don't need as much heal as you need with other heroes. ETC can help out a bit. Arthas is usually going to his own. But yeah, heal over time is always a bit of a risk to take.
Yep, it certainly is here. So looking at it, let us know at home on Twitter using the hashtag HGC and hitting us up at Heroes Esports whether or not you think Trick Esports is going to tie up the series or if we're going to have Playing Ducks get the win. We do have one tweet right now actually to look at.
And let us know what you think is the better skin idea, Janitor Leoric or Baseball Leoric.
Or Deathwing Brightwing. Here we go. Gillyweed, Caldor's declaration that nobody likes Brightwing is a declaration of war. We are coffee friends no longer.
Come on, Gilly. No, we can agree to disagree here, but don't shut me out with the coffee.
The moment you get shut out by Gilly, you've done goof life.
No, she just crossed the line. She just said we are not coffee friends anymore. That's just not okay. That's crossing the line right there.
That shows you the importance of your words that you just said earlier.
Coffee.
Let's go to game number 4 here. Figure out what's going to be happening here between our two teams. Trick Esports hoping to tie it up. The Playing Ducks hoping to get a win, and Gillyweed is no longer a friend of Caldor.
It just feels bad. I don't know.
Do you feel bad? Does it hurt?
Yeah.
He has a heart, chat. He has a heart.
Playing Ducks with Wolfjoe on Rhaegar, Nanda on Tyrande, this time to the left on Infernal Shrine. Sport Billy is playing Stitches this time. We have Chris on Gul'dan, and Eternal for the 3rd time in the series is playing Leoric.
On the right side in the red, Tricked Esport. Nape playing the Malfurion. We're going to watch out for that Tranquility to see if it does come in. ETC being played by Rimmer, Make playing Greymane, Crosby playing Li Ming, and Alex Aproji is your Arthas.
Sport Billy is just increasing his hero pool on the tanks now. He's just playing everything. It's like, oh yeah, I didn't play that guy.
At this point, is he just showing off? He's like, hey, look, I have all these heroes unlocked. I've bought them. I leveled them to 5. Let's play them here in competitive.
I have all the tanks. I have the best tanks.
Wow. Moving forward. A step too far. Nande setting up for a hook. It connects the Luna Flare. Where's it at? Where's it at? Crosby able to get out. The Luna Flare too late. Nande, come on, man.
Yeah, Luna Flare in this case. There was just no trust.
Yeah, the moment the hook goes out, you throw it out.
At this point, he was just thinking, Sport Billy, come on, you can't
You're
be serious.
Yeah,
You're
not that good.
You can't play Garrosh. You can't play just like ETC, Johanna, Garrosh, and now also at the stages. I'm not quite sure. I'm going to leave you a few training hooks for the start, and then I'm going to trust you. But yeah, in this case, that could have been a kill with a good flare, but the hooks are connecting, and Alex is actually going to suffer at the hands of this one. This could be a kill, but no, the Death Coil heals him up again.
And again, no trust there from Nande. Nande, I'm not mad. I'm disappointed.
No. He was on cooldown. He actually tried to hit him before that, and yeah, he didn't hold it back.
Yeah, should have held it there for the Stitches hook to come out. TT there, as the Playing Ducks have had 2 possible kills missing out on them, but still, you see the idea. They're looking for these hooks, they're looking for the engages, and they want to follow up with the burst there from the Hunter Mark. Yeah.
Also, we have now, as expected, Prog Rock taken for ETC, so with heals over time provided by Malfurion, you want to make sure that you have some extra heals, and that's usually where ETC can shine with his level 1. Eternal with Consume Vitality on level 1 once again. We're going to see Neil Peasants on level 4 for the extra wave clear. And in the meantime, we're just seeing Nanda trying to also get a couple of stacks on his Owl build. So still going into the Owl build, not trying to get stacks on Luna Flare here. People have been asking quite a bit also on like forums on Reddit and everywhere which build to go for with Tyrande. And you've seen here in Europe the same Tyrande build now for the last few weeks, and this is literally the best build that you can go for right now that will have the best impact for you overall in the game.
Yeah, typically your 4s where you will have the adjustments that might deter from the normal build based on what your opponent's playing.
If you go for, if there's silencers and stuns, you can go for the Celestial Attunement, which is exactly what we're seeing here right now. Oh, nice kill against Stitches. Look at that. Trick actually starting with the aggression here. So far in the early game, they are the ones who have taken a bit of a beating, but right now Trick Esports showing the strength of Arthas and ETC.
Good on Trade Esport. This is one of the ways that you break a Stitches composition. You force the fight. You move in for an engage. Stitches, he's not a fan of being engaged upon. You saw him get bursted down right there from Tricked Esports, and they'll be able to work on the Shrine on the top. The Playing Ducks answer back by running towards the middle lane, but Tricked, wise and aware that they have retreated, move in for their own kills, and they're getting an Eternal low on health.
There's also another thing that now is added to the comp. We have not only the lockdown from ETC and Arthas, but we have at the same time then also the potential of another route as the follow-up. So it just gets really dangerous once that you are in that lockdown.
Speaking of that route, how come we haven't had Malfurion against ETC stage dives in the last couple of weeks where we could have had a stage dive come in and you drop a route and catch him?
Because Malfurion sucks compared to the other healers.
All right, there you go. 4 on the top here as we continue to clear out the Shrine, 25-7. I'm here to let you do the analysis thing, man.
No, but giving you a proper answer, the problem with Malfurion, and this is why it also surprised me a bit in this setup, is that he just as a solo healer is just not as much respected. When you see him, nice attempt here, when you see him then it's usually in a double support setup, so I think against stage dive it's definitely a good option, but oftentimes when you head into the draft you don't even know if stage dive is going to be used, so just simply draft him to get the route down for after stage dive is always a bit of a risk. If you happen to be in a place where you want to take him anyways, then I think he can definitely fill that role, but I feel drafting him only to counter ETC stage dive is not really worth it.
Sport Billy getting engaged on here with the power slide. It's going to be a dead Sport Billy as Stitches gets picked up, and Trick Esports is pushing in the top. But following up on your reasoning here, lately we've been having a lot of our supports picked up in the first couple of slots. Malfurion is not warranted in that region. That's why you don't have that reaction to handle the ETC.
Here's something that I like very much, though, which we haven't seen in the last few days because the Moonfire build has been so strong. We have now Strangling Binds taken and a Loon's Grace on level 4, and that's absolutely fantastic if you want to snipe targets. And with them going into Li Ming and also Greymane, with all that lockdown that they have, that's exactly what you wanted to do. So with Strangling Binds taken, the targeted hero receives 30% less healing. That's absolutely fantastic when you are trying to just blow someone to pieces with Greymane and with Li Ming.
Slowing down the ancestor healing too, also helpful if you're able to hit that root. Make comes down and starts some mercs in the middle, hoping to get them pushed in, and Trick Esport in this game is looking very similar to the game earlier on Cursed Hollow. A nice lead here, 8.5 to almost 8 for the playing Ducks. They're controlling the map, and they've opened up a fort. Yeah,
they're definitely starting to find out. Sorry, but Greymane is about to fall. He's nearly dead in the middle and during that fight, and just barely got away here. So Mako was able to escape. The owl still moving through, but yeah, that was a close call, as we could actually see. For now, we have still, I mean, you are right, Trick takes a bit of a lead here, but I still want to highlight that Leoric comes online really on 13 and 16. And on this map, this is important because that's also the time when the entire setup with the shrines is going to be so much more dangerous. The problem really is that with this early pressure up to the front, Sport Billy might die here again, and that's the 3rd kill already. So the Ducks are starting to move in more aggressively, and they are not getting kills. The exact opposite happens. They're losing heroes, which increases the lead of Trick Esports.
Sport Billy is not a god, missing a couple of hooks right now, and good on Trick Esports coming in and getting those punishes. ETC setting that up with Arthas coming with a massive flank to zone out the other 4 so they could focus down the Stitches, and now they move in towards that level 10. They get top lane pushing, and a Shrine activates. Trick Esports in a great spot as they head to the mid game.
Yeah, the level 10 is going to help them, but the Ducks should actually... I mean, they should be able to get something out of this. They can push the bot lane, for example, and just simply pressure for the fort. Either they need to move to the top and say they're going to wait for 10 and then take the fight, or they just push through the fort at the bot lane, and it looks like they decide to go for the structure instead. A bit hesitant here, just clearing the wave, opening up the wave for also the Khazra camp that they took. They have their own 10. Gorge has been chosen, and I love it, Starfall. As I said, much better here for the map right now, and their playstyle to go Starfall on 10 for Tyrande. I'm loving the choice. Nice attempt again with hook and stun, but 30 minions already taken by Trick.
Sage dive.
Sage dive comes in, Horrify being used, and ETC immediately in trouble. Good Starfall on the ground. The Ancestral comes through as well. They're turning it around against Alex, and we have Eternal in the middle of the fight. Here comes the silence against Eternal. And that's exactly what we talked about earlier. Once that you have Leoric in that position, silence can definitely ruin his day.
Fell Flame hitting Rimmer, but they'll be able to grab the Shrine. Still, how the playing Ducks orchestrated that fight was pretty clever, dropping down the Horrify and the Starfall, forcing Trick Esport, if they wanted to save their teammate, to come in. Didn't quite get as many kills as they would like, and Trick Esports is back with a great Twilight Dream, but you can see the fight and how it can open up for the playing Ducks.
Yeah, and now imagine that fight with Leoric actually having as important talents. That's what I'm currently scared of for Trick. Right now, they take a lead, and they need to take that lead. But it's not as big as they hope for. And that hook destroys Arthas. That was fantastic. So now that Punisher is not even getting a lot of value. Look at experience. With the fort taken down at the bot lane, they not only equalize the situation when it comes to structures on the map, because earlier Trick was able to take out the top fort, but now we're having them an even experience as well, and that's heading into level 13 talents where Leoric is going to get the damage reduction against Li Ming, against Greymane, what they are looking for. Even without that, the fight already looked strong. But once that hits, it's going to be pretty rough for Trick.
I take back my comment earlier about Sport Billy maybe not being a god. He is a god. I feel bad, and I'm sorry for saying that. All right, Trick Esport.
I'm sorry for saying that. Please
I'm sorry.
Please don't punish me.
Please don't clip that earlier. We're good. Landing some great hooks there, especially with the Punisher even being grabbed and helping get kills, has put playing Ducks ahead at 12.25, moving up to 12.5 in experience. And Trick Esport are now looking a little shaken here as they're moving a little bit more aggressively on the map than they were earlier.
Yeah, and again, it's not only that leading experience. For me, it's really when 13 and especially 16 kick in. And then it's going to be a lot harder. Also, the late game is going to be pretty strong with the Owls starting to hit. We have 18 stacks so far. It's pretty okay considering that he doesn't have his level 13 talent yet. That's really when it's going to start to rank up, especially when we have more 5 versus 5 fights.
That should be where Malfurion helps out, though. The heal over time, with the constant owls coming out, he should be able to slow down that damage, but still something to consider.
Thing is also that Gorge is still a bit interesting to me, but I can absolutely understand it with not only the stun on Tyrande, but also having Horrify available here. With a Shrine, with this being Infernal Shrines, I would have expected Putrid Bile, but I can totally see what they are trying to do. Now we have Omnious Wrath taken, so Leoric is going to have much more of an impact during team fights, as explained before. The Owl talent with the cooldown reduction on Tyrande is going to have a huge aspect, of course, as well, for cooldown reduction, which will result in higher stack counts. And in the meantime, we're still waiting for Trick to pick their own level 13 talents, because the next Shrine is active.
Next Shrine is active to the very top. Playing Ducks about to get 14. They're getting the map pushing out too, so they'll have middle and bottom moving in. They'll have the option to either grab forts in open battleground or come fight Trick Esports on the Shrine, and they are deciding not to move into it. They want Trick to respond to them. Push in the middle, grab the minions, take the fort easily, and keep up their experience lead.
And they can still move to the top now. Arthas is already in the back here. Really could just eat him. I mean, at this point, there's the stun already. So the rest of the team is getting into position. ETC has started to defend the bot lane. Nice double hit again. Hook this time not connecting. Doesn't have fishing hook. There's no 16. Very likely to go into pulverize anyways. But in this setup, the hook just a bit short of getting a target. And now they move easily to the top lane where they can claim another wave with Chris and will get a very solid lead on the Shrine itself if they want to.
I've really been enjoying how the Playing Ducks are handling this mid-game. What is Trick Esports known for? They love flanking. They love Arthas going onto a backline and trying to fight, but they catch them every single time on those flanks.
They want ETC.
They are always looking for those engages. ETC on the bottom, Rimmer, noticing something might be up. He doesn't see the numbers moving up on the minion Shrine, pulls way behind the turrets, and is just fine for now.
Look how only Eternal shows. Nobody else. The entire time, Eternal has been the one that was visible in the mid lane and in the bot lane now. No one else shows. And now, as they have seen someone at the top lane, they just completely go to the bot lane. They rotate around Trick Esports so much right now. They play around Vision the entire time. The lanes are pushed out in their favor. They destroy the wall so that they can continue the same game. They are just sitting in a situation where they are attempting to play with Vision around the opponent and get value by destroying structures. And they still keep it up. They don't even care that Rema Baller right now is at the top, because with Rema at the top, Trick can now claim the Shrine, since he can still use his heroic to jump to a team fight. So now Trick is trying to get more value out of their global, which is a big advantage that they have.
Yep, they finally adapt there. They were trying to have their 4 on the top so they can clear out the Shrine and have ETC on the bottom, but with Playing Ducks constantly rotating around, they finally get into a spot where they're able to at least contest if Playing Ducks attempt to pull it off again. But Playing Ducks, they've done their damage already. They got an experience lead, they got the keep turret on the bottom right side, and they hit level 16, which means they can defend the push coming on the top.
It's so cool how both of these teams play around Vision right now. It's so safe, making sure that they're not getting caught. Here comes the Horrifiers. Chris tries to keep himself alive, moves behind the wall. That where Gorge has hit Marke, but he's out already. Alex drops immediately his own ult, trying to stay alive. Eternal moves in, he hits Li Ming. He is reducing the damage already and slowing everybody down as Reveballer jumps in with the stage shift. Marco already being slowed down as well, and he goes down. Malfurion is dead, and so is Greymane. 2 kills already. The Ducks are still on the hunt as they are moving in with level 16 talents now.
The hunt concludes as they get 2 kills. They have 16, and now they make the advancement towards the Shrine. Wolfjo even chasing Rimmer across the map. Rimmer will get away, but the Playing Ducks feeling great after that fight. Most of it was due to their catch with Make on the Greymane. Sport Billy able to grab him, gorge him, Tyrande focus him down there. That level 7 talent coming online, and of course that 13 Owl just poking them enough to eventually win the team fight.
Such a cool play by the Ducks overall, and to delay this entire Shrine until they had level 16 and now moving in. They grab the Shrine, they grab the Punisher, and in the meantime 3 of their heroes are already focusing down the fort so that the Punisher will move towards the keep directly. 4 kills against 4, the Ducks in the lead, strong play on their end. Leoric, huge utility in the fights right now. We have Tyrande also with the great ults, the Owls connecting more and more, 26 stacks. Not really too much just yet, a little bit on the low side. But considering the way they've been playing, is still absolutely worth it. Breaking through the wall here, opening the side gate, and once the Punisher stun is triggered, they will move in.
They're playing careful, not making sure that they get caught by the stage that could be coming in. Trick Esports is pretty infamous here for always going for a fight behind the objective after an engage happens, but with the Punisher about to ramp up, they're playing safe. Sport really does step up and grabs the Arthas. We'll throw him to the side. The Toronto Luna player does connect, but here is Rimmer flanking from behind.
ETC in the back, Horrify being used against Alex. Arthas in trouble, but still dropping the army, eating ghoul after ghoul, and able to move away. Punisher down to 20% as we are having the Ducks moving in. They want the keep, and they are not pushing for it just yet. Knappe nearly falls to the Punisher, and we have the Ducks moving away.
Heads up, there is actually, I just noticed, you were asking about a visual to show if someone does get their damage reduced. There's a little brown bar underneath them.
It's a bar?
Yeah, it's a little brown bar that actually shows when they are low on damage due to Lior touching them.
Where exactly is it? I thought there was also always a little bit of a black, like, I don't know how to call it, like a mist on the hero. I thought there was a visual indicator, but I haven't seen the bar yet.